Singapore is often portrayed as a shining example of order, cleanliness, and efficiency. Skyscrapers rise in perfect symmetry, streets look immaculate, and the city's silhouette gleams like a futuristic postcard. Tourists see Marina Bay Sands, the gardens by the bay, and well-kept parks, and get the impression that the city is perfect. But real life in Singapore is much more complicated, sometimes quietly exhausting. Beneath the shiny surface, movement, routine, and constant pressure define the daily existence of most of its residents. For those who live here, Singapore is not only a city of opportunities, but also a place of continuous expectations. Success is measured by school grades, job positions, income, and appearance. There is practically no room for falling behind. The city's laws are strict, infrastructure is worked out to the smallest details, and social norms permeate everyday life. People move quickly because they must, but the cost of this is often stress, fatigue, and invisible tension that tourists do not see. Morning begins very early for most. Even before the sun fully rises, part of the workforce is already in motion. Hawker stall workers arrive at their places, sometimes at 4 a.m., prepare ingredients, arrange equipment, and check that everything is ready for the crowd that will appear with the first light. For them, morning is not a time for coffee or rest, but the first stage of a long, intense workday. Meanwhile, office workers and clerks leave their homes during hours when the city is still quiet. Streets gradually fill with people moving in a limited, almost mechanical rhythm. Buses and MRT trains quickly become crowded. During rush hours, the carriages are so full that people stand shoulder to shoulder, holding firmly onto the rails, trying not to lose balance. Most faces are focused, smiles are rare. Even in the air-conditioned carriage, the air is filled with subtle tension. Young people in school uniforms rush toward educational institutions. For them, the morning starts even earlier. Extra lessons, tutoring courses, homework that must be submitted before classes begin. In Singapore, education is perceived as the main path to success, and every day of students is filled with structured obligations. Failing to meet requirements or moving too slowly can mean falling behind in a system where competition is high and ruthless. Service workers, couriers, cleaners, security guards begin their day even earlier than office workers. They clean the streets, restock stores, deliver packages, or prepare food served in office buildings and schools. Their work is vital but almost never noticed. Every step of their day is worked out, calculated to fit the schedule while leaving at least a little energy for the evening return home. Hawker stalls are the heart of the morning for many locals. While the city is still waking up, hawker owners and workers quickly prepare dishes: fried noodles, rice with vegetables and meat, traditional soups, and snacks. They work in the humidity of the morning heat, with the constant noise of the street and smells of food already filling the air. Most customers are office workers and school children who need a quick breakfast. For hawker staff, this means nonstop work, often without a break for coffee or rest. On the streets, the first signals of the day's rhythm are quietly heard. Engines of mopeds and bicycles, the bell of a trolley, footsteps on the pavement. But even in this visible activity, there's a sense of control and order. Narrow streets of Geylang or Tanjong Pagar are filled with early shoppers, workers, and students. Every movement is subordinated to the schedule, and at the same time, is the rhythm that forms the character of the city. For office workers, the morning commute is also a test of patience. People walk strictly defined routes, crossing squares, bridges, and underground passages to avoid being late. Phones are already in hands, headphones on ears, faces focused on the screen, but the mind is tense. Everyone hurries, and even the smallest delay becomes a source of stress. Singapore is a city where even the morning silence feels controlled. It is not full of calm. It is structured, measured. There is no chaotic noise of large cities, no disorderly movement, but there is constant, quiet pressure. People have already learned to live in this rhythm, adapt, respond quickly, move without stopping. Morning in Singapore is not about beauty or perfect landscapes. It is about routine, about life that continues regardless of wishes and rest. It is about those who prepare food for the city, clean streets, deliver packages, transport people in crowded trains, and about those who fit into this invisible, strict schedule, trying to survive and keep up. Even a morning market, which looks bright and lively in photos, for many workers is just a workspace where there is no time for smiles. Food is prepared quickly, service is precise, and every minute counts. Time for breakfast for oneself here almost does not exist because the rhythm of the city sets the pace even before the first coffee. While the city moves in its morning rhythm, thousands of students head to schools, colleges, and tutoring centers. School uniforms are strict. Clean shirts, neatly combed hair, spotless shoes. External discipline is just the tip of the iceberg. Beneath it lies daily pressure, often invisible to outsiders. Grades, exams, competition among classmates. All of this forms the structure of life, where success is determined not only by knowledge but by the ability to withstand rhythm, pace, and expectations. Morning for students is not a time for play or relaxation. Many wake up before 6 a.m. to make it to extra classes, review homework, or prepare for tests. Tutoring centers open earlier than schools, and there, rows of teenagers quietly read, solve problems, or listen to lectures. Their faces are focused, hands move quickly across notebooks, and their thoughts are constantly tense. Rest is practically non-existent, and even breaks are minimized. The city's transport systems add another layer of tension. Teenagers stand closely together in MRT carriages, holding onto rails, phones in hand, headphones in ears. They read, review notes, or check class schedules on their phones, but their main focus is on time and route. Delays or crowds cause irritation, and even small changes in the schedule can become sources of stress. In offices, adults start the day a bit later, but the rhythm is no less strict. People in business attire hurry to high-rise buildings, where every step and every email counts. The workday in Singapore is structured and dense. Meetings, emails, tasks with deadlines. Breaks are short. Lunches often happen quickly, standing or by coffee machine. For many office workers, the day consists of a series of short intervals, where it is important to maintain productivity and keep up with colleagues. Particularly notable are those who work in service or industry. Couriers, drivers, cleaners, and security guards start earlier than everyone else and finish later. They see the city from a different perspective, not through tourist impressions, but through its mechanics, schedules, and rhythm. Their day is built around a sense of time and place. When to be at a delivery point, when to sweep the street, when to check equipment or monitor order. All actions are carefully calculated, and there is almost no room for spontaneity. Lunchtime in office districts is also part of the rhythm. People leave quickly, often choosing ready-made meals from hawker stalls or small cafes. For many, it is a quick snack, no more than 20 to 30 minutes. Among office workers, there is silent interaction, brief conversations, nods, minimal emotion. Free time is limited, and even lunch breaks are often combined with checking emails or work on the phone. Students after school and extra classes also continue working. Tutoring courses, clubs, sports training, all are part of a system that does not allow slowing down. Evening for a teenager often begins when most adults are already resting. Homework, test preparation, self-study. Fatigue accumulates quickly, but societal and parental expectations push them forward. In the service and industrial sectors, people work in conditions where every hour counts. Couriers deliver packages in hot humidity. Cleaners maintain cleanliness of streets and offices. Security guards monitor buildings. None of these roles attract the attention of tourists or ordinary citizens. but they all form the backbone of city life. They see it from the inside, understand how another part of the population lives, and at the same time remain unnoticed. Evening in Singapore is a continuation of the day. Students return home with intense schedules, office workers finish reports, hawker staff clean up after dinner customers. The city looks calm and controlled, but this calm is the result of constant labor and self-discipline. People move as the system has taught them, efficiently, without pauses, almost without time for themselves. Despite all comfort and technology, life in Singapore is not without tension. Temperature control, organization, efficiency, all this makes the city convenient for tourists and wealthy residents. But for most, it is a daily struggle with rhythm, expectations, and physical fatigue. The reality of Singapore is a contrast between external shine and the internal structure of life. It is not about perfect landscapes, but about schedules, work, study, stress, rare moments of rest, and the drive to keep up. It is a city where even the morning is part of a larger system that constantly moves and requires endurance and discipline from people. As the day moves toward noon and early afternoon, the rhythm of Singapore shifts subtly. Office workers settle into their routines, students attend supplementary classes, and the city hums with the quiet movement of service workers who often remain unseen. For many, the visible city, the glass towers, clean streets, and luxury malls, is only a fraction of reality. The backbone of daily life depends on those who work tirelessly, often without recognition. Hawker Center staff, cleaners, delivery personnel, and security guards make the city function. Their day begins before sunrise and ends long after the office workers leave. The heat and humidity are constant companions. The smell of cooking oil, exhaust fumes, and damp streets is a permanent part of the environment. For them, comfort is minimal, and time is structured down to the minute. Breaks are short, meals are quick. The job demands attention, stamina, and repetition. Each step, each task is timed. Efficiency is not a choice, but a necessity. The hawker centers, the heart of everyday Singaporean cuisine, are especially revealing. Tourists see vibrant, bustling stalls filled with food and color. But for workers, the day is relentless. They chop, fry, steam, and clean continuously, keeping up with the flow of customers who arrive in short bursts. Lunch hours, after-school crowds, or late-night diners. Every dish must be prepared quickly, and perfection is expected, even under pressure. Mistakes are noticed, and repetition is exhausting. Behind the sizzling woks and fragrant aromas, fatigue is constant, yet invisible. Delivery drivers navigate crowded streets, sometimes in the scorching sun, sometimes in sudden rainstorms. Their lives are measured in orders delivered and time constraints met. Missed deadlines or traffic jams are not mere annoyances. They carry consequences. The city's order depends on their punctuality, yet few stop to notice the effort it takes to sustain the seamless daily rhythm everyone else experiences. Security guards and maintenance staff have their own silent routines. They patrol the same blocks daily, ensuring safety and order. They know every stairwell, every corner, every door that must be checked. While the city appears calm and secure, these individuals are the ones quietly maintaining that appearance. Their vigilance is constant, and their work is often physically demanding. Like others in the service sector, recognition is rare, and the work is solitary despite being essential. Housing in Singapore presents another layer of reality. Outside the gleaming condos and luxury apartments, the majority of residents live in HDB flats, public housing complexes. These buildings are clean and organized, but life here is not luxurious. Families share small spaces, and walls are thin. Privacy is limited, and daily life is compacted into rooms and narrow corridors. Elevators are crowded during peak hours, and noise travels easily between units. These are homes for ordinary citizens who live structured lives, balancing work, study, and family obligations in a city where space is limited and efficiency is valued above comfort. Evenings bring their own rhythm. Families return from work, students finish tutoring, and service workers close down their day. Dinner is often quick and practical. Some prepare meals at home, using limited kitchen space efficiently. Others grab takeout or reheated meals from local food stalls. Conversation is minimal, and routines are repeated day after day. For many, the evening is not leisure. It is the continuation of obligations, laundry, homework, minor errands, or preparation for the next day. In the quieter residential areas, lights in HDB flats flicker on, revealing people finishing chores, watching television, or helping children with studies. Apartment layouts prioritize efficiency over comfort, and the pace of life inside mirrors the city outside. Privacy is limited, and the closeness of neighbors creates a community, but also a sense of constant observation. Everything is regulated, predictable, and structured. For the younger generation, evening life often centers around study or technology. Teenagers and young adults spend hours on laptops, phones, or tablets, completing assignments, preparing for exams, or communicating socially. Time for unstructured play is scarce. Cultural expectations, parental pressure, and societal competition frame every choice, every hour. Leisure exists, but it is scheduled and measured. Even trips to malls or cafes are carefully timed and structured. Entertainment, though abundant on the surface, often carries a hidden intensity. Malls, cinemas, and cafes are full of people, but the social interactions are transactional. Students meet to study, friends gather briefly before returning home, couples meet for a quick meal. The city's brightness and activity contrast with the quiet pressure that accompanies it. The expectation to perform, to study, to work, to remain productive. Happiness is visible in short bursts, often punctuated by exhaustion or stress. The night shift reveals yet another layer of reality. Singapore never fully sleeps. Hospitals, factories, transport systems, and convenience stores operate around the clock. Night workers often experience a starkly different reality from day workers. For them, the city is dimmer, quieter, but no less demanding. Hours are longer, pay may be lower, and the physical toll is significant. The streets are safer than in many other cities, but isolation and fatigue accompany these jobs. Yet their contribution is essential for the city to maintain its seamless daytime image. Even the city's reputation for safety and order has a cost. Laws are strict, fines are frequent, and social behavior is constantly monitored. For residents, there is little room for deviation or failure. Children are disciplined early, taught to adhere to rules strictly. Adults internalize expectations from work, family, and society. Success is defined externally, and the margin for error is small. In this environment, life is secure, efficient, and predictable, but also exhausting and regimented. By late evening, the streets in the business districts empty, but the residential areas remain alive with low-level activity. Laundry dries on balconies, quiet conversations drift through corridors, and occasional laughter punctuates the otherwise regulated hum of daily life. The city, when observed from above, seems calm, even peaceful. But for the people living in it, this calm is hard-earned, maintained through discipline, routine, and unending work. Singapore's reality is a mix of comfort and constraint. Its order, cleanliness, and efficiency come at a cost. Stress, limited personal space, long work hours, and constant social expectations. For those who keep the city running, from cleaners to office workers, students to delivery drivers, the day-to-day life is demanding, repetitive, and rarely glamorous. Yet is also sustainable, functional, and predictable, qualities that the city values above all. Evening is not a time to relax fully. It is a transitional period, a bridge between the obligations of the day and preparation for tomorrow. Few pause to reflect. Most are already thinking about schedules, deadlines, or lessons. The rhythm of life in Singapore does not stop because the sun sets. For most, the city's efficiency continues, invisibly powered by countless small efforts that rarely get noticed. In this way, Singapore is a city of contrasts. Skyscrapers and malls tower above HDB flats. Luxury coexists with efficiency-driven necessity. Public order exists alongside personal exhaustion. The city appears calm, controlled, and perfect, but beneath this surface is the unrelenting structure of daily life. Quiet, tireless, and true as night falls, the city transforms in ways that are subtle but telling. The bright lights of downtown and shopping districts create the illusion of vibrancy, but the reality is more layered. While tourists stroll through Marina Bay and Orchard Road, most residents are moving quietly through routines that leave little room for spontaneity. Nightlife is often not leisure, but an extension of daily obligations, a final stretch of productivity before the day ends. For students, evenings are rarely free. Many return from school and supplementary tuition only to begin hours of homework and self-study. For those preparing for national exams, this is a period of intense focus, often stretching past 10 p.m. Digital devices dominate, with tablets, phones, and laptops forming constant companions. Conversations are minimal, even within households, as everyone balances study schedules, online classes, and projects. The pressure to perform is relentless, reinforced by both parental expectations and societal norms. Office workers and service industry employees often have different nighttime routines, but the city's structure touches them all. Some may attend evening meetings, complete reports, or engage in work-related communication from home. Others may finish late-night shifts, cleaning buildings, restocking stores, or delivering parcels. These roles, essential to maintaining the city's appearance of order, operate mostly unnoticed. Yet the fatigue accumulates quietly, layer upon layer, affecting sleep, health, and mental well-being. Social contrasts in Singapore are stark. In luxury condos, families dine on home-cooked meals or order gourmet delivery, enjoying comfort and privacy. Meanwhile, in public housing estates, families share smaller living spaces, often juggling children's studies, domestic chores, and multiple part-time jobs. Elevators are crowded, communal corridors echo with noise, and personal space is limited. Life is compact and structured, yet these environments foster a sense of community that wealthier areas often lack. Residents know neighbors by sight and by routine, sometimes relying on them for informal childcare or advice, while privacy is constantly negotiated. Night markets, although lively and seemingly festive, also reflect the city's dual realities. Stall owners work long hours, often past midnight, cooking, serving, and cleaning. They see the contrast between tourists, who linger and photograph the scene, and regular locals, who grab quick meals on their way home from work or school. The interaction is transactional. There's little time for leisure or small talk. The energy of a night market is fueled not by celebration, but by endurance and necessity. Transportation continues into the late hours. Buses and MRT trains run efficiently, but they carry a different population than during the day. Night workers, students attending late classes, and occasional tourists share the same spaces, yet each moves with distinct purpose. The quiet hum of trains and occasional announcements are reminders that life in Singapore never fully stops. Even when streets appear empty, service workers, security personnel, and emergency responders maintain the city's pulse. The hidden pressures of social expectations linger into the night. Parents monitor children's studies. Workers check emails. Students complete assignments. in a city renowned for discipline and achievement. Even leisure carries a subtle tension. Casual activities are structured, a scheduled gym session, a planned visit to a cafe, or a fixed time for online social interaction. Spontaneity is rare, and the desire for rest is often secondary to the need to maintain performance. Financial pressures contribute another layer of reality. Housing costs, tuition fees, and daily expenses are significant concerns for many families. For students, education is an investment, but one that comes with constant pressure to succeed. Adults balance income against high living costs, often working long hours or multiple jobs to meet obligations. While Singapore is wealthy by global standards, the distribution of wealth is uneven, and the contrast between affluent residents and working-class families is ever present. Healthcare, while accessible and high quality, also reflects societal pressures. Routine checkups, preventive care, and mental health services are available, but time constraints and work demands often limit utilization. Many postpone care until necessary, and stress-related issues are common. Sleep, nutrition, and relaxation are frequently sacrificed in the pursuit of meeting the city's rigorous expectations. Despite these challenges, the city's order and safety provide a degree of predictability. Residents can move through neighborhoods, public spaces, and transport systems with minimal risk. Crime rates are low, infrastructure is reliable, and essential services are continuously available. For many, this security is a trade-off for the structured, demanding lifestyle that defines Singapore. Life is stable, but stability requires discipline, endurance, and constant attention to societal norms. Even at night, the city's efficiency dominates. Street cleaners patrol quiet avenues, maintaining the image of cleanliness. Security guards monitor nearly empty offices and public buildings. Delivery personnel complete late-night orders, and night shift workers ensure essential systems remain operational. These invisible efforts allow the city to present its polished image, masking the quiet struggle of the majority who keep it running. Family life in the evening reflects similar contrasts. In wealthier households, dinners may be elaborate but structured around schedules, with little spontaneous interaction. In public housing, meals are simpler, often prepared quickly after long days of work and study. Conversations revolve around logistics, school performance, work deadlines, household chores, rather than leisure or reflection. Time at home is a continuation of obligations, not a space for personal freedom. Social gatherings, when they occur, are usually brief and goal-oriented. Networking events, student study groups, or family visits are often pre-scheduled and time-limited. Spontaneous leisure is rare, replaced by structured interactions that serve a purpose within the framework of achievement and societal expectation. Even in moments of apparent relaxation, the underlying pressure to maintain performance persists. The city's physical environment reinforces these rhythms. Streets, parks, and public spaces are clean, organized, and well-lit, encouraging efficient movement. Residential blocks are orderly, transport systems punctual, and public facilities well-maintained. Every aspect of the city is designed for function, predictability, and minimal disruption. Residents navigate these spaces daily, internalizing the expectations embedded in the environment. Singapore's nightlife is therefore a mix of visible activity and invisible labor. Bright lights, bustling streets, and entertainment venues coexist with the unseen effort of workers, students, and families maintaining routines. The city's polished exterior is underpinned by the endurance, discipline, and continuous effort of those who rarely appear in guidebooks or travel photos. By late night, the city quiets, but life does not stop. Office lights dim, but security patrols continue. Food stalls close temporarily, only to reopen for early morning preparations. Delivery routes finish, and the streets are maintained for the next day. Residents sleep with the knowledge that tomorrow will bring a repeat of disciplined routines, structured schedules, and societal expectations. In this way, Singapore is a city of contrasts. Wealth and efficiency exist alongside fatigue and pressure. Order and predictability coexist with personal sacrifice. Visible beauty masks invisible labor. Nightlife is not always leisure. It is often the extension of daytime obligations. The city functions seamlessly to the outside observer, but beneath the surface is a network of human effort, endurance, and quiet struggle that sustains it. Singapore's reality is unembellished. It is a city where success is measured constantly, routines are non-negotiable, and life is disciplined from dawn to midnight. Its residents experience efficiency, safety, and cleanliness, but they also face fatigue, societal pressure, and limited spontaneity. Night after night, the city rests minimally, preparing to begin again at sunrise, sustained by the tireless effort of its people. Weekends in Singapore offer a pause of sorts, but they are far from a full escape. The city's routines remain, just with slightly different rhythms. Offices and schools may be quieter, but the pressures that define everyday life continue to shape behavior and expectations. For many, weekends are not purely leisure. They are filled with additional obligations, errands, or preparation for the week ahead. For students, weekends often include enrichment programs, tuition classes, or extra study sessions. The aim is not merely learning, but staying ahead in a competitive academic environment. Many students rise early, attend classes for several hours, and then return home to complete homework, assignments, or projects. Leisure is minimal. Free time is a scarce commodity. Even when allowed, it is usually structured. Sports, music lessons, or activities are seen as productive or enriching. There is little space for spontaneous play or rest. Parents often act as the organizers, ensuring that children's schedules are optimized. Weekends may involve shuttling kids to classes, monitoring progress, or reviewing schoolwork. This constant supervision is both a cultural expectation and a personal commitment. While it can strengthen family bonds, it also reinforces a cycle of structured life in which every hour has purpose and every activity is evaluated for its long-term benefit. For adults, weekends offer limited relief from weekday obligations. Many workers use the time to complete domestic tasks, laundry, cleaning, grocery shopping, or to address errands postponed during the week. Some may take additional work home, checking emails, or finishing reports. Leisure time exists, but is often punctuated by awareness of pending responsibilities. The culture of efficiency and productivity continues to define choices, even in moments meant for rest. Even public spaces on weekends reflect these dual realities. Parks, shopping centers, and recreational areas are populated, but the energy is different from what tourists may imagine. Families visit gardens or malls with a purpose, a scheduled picnic, a grocery run, or a structured family outing. Exercise is planned rather than spontaneous. Gym visits, jogging routes, or yoga classes with prearranged times. Socializing occurs, but usually within frameworks that maximize efficiency or personal growth rather than casual interaction. Cultural pressures continue to influence daily life, even on weekends. Academic achievement, career advancement, and social standing weigh heavily on residents. Conversations often revolve around exams, grades, promotions, or financial planning. Even leisure activities are measured against expectations. Are you spending time meaningfully, learning something, or improving yourself? This mindset permeates decisions, often unconsciously, and shapes behavior in subtle but persistent ways. Mental fatigue is a constant companion. The cumulative effects of structured schedules, high expectations, and limited unstructured time manifest in subtle ways. Headaches, tension, sleep deprivation, and emotional strain are common but rarely openly discussed. Stress management is often limited to small routines: a brief walk, a short exercise session, or quiet moments at home. For many, weekends are an opportunity for recuperation, but not a complete break. The underlying pressures remain. The city's pace also influences social relationships. Friendships and romantic connections are often scheduled around work and study obligations. Meetings are planned, outings are prearranged, and spontaneity is minimal. Even social gatherings carry implicit pressure to perform well academically or professionally, to appear composed and successful, and to maintain social standing. Genuine relaxation is difficult to achieve, as the expectation to be productive or socially present is ever present. For those living alone, weekends can be lonelier than they appear. The structured nature of society means that even free time is measured and limited. Trips to cafes, shopping, or gyms often involve observing others also following schedules and routines. Social interactions are transactional, reinforcing a sense of efficiency over intimacy. Silence and solitude are sometimes the only opportunities to reflect, rest, or experience personal space. For workers in the service and industrial sectors, weekends may be no different than weekdays. Many operate on shift schedules, including weekends and public holidays. Night shifts, delivery routes, and security duties continue. Their lives are dictated by demand, not leisure, and rest is often fragmented. The city's polished appearance relies heavily on these often invisible efforts. While tourists enjoy weekend vibrancy, the labor sustaining it is relentless. Even entertainment options carry subtle pressures. Theme parks, cinemas, and shopping districts are active on weekends, yet visits are usually time-limited and structured. Families may adhere to strict schedules, ensuring every activity aligns with broader life plans. Young adults may socialize or exercise, but these moments are often balanced against study, work, or self-improvement obligations. The city encourages participation, but rarely allows unstructured idleness. Despite these pressures, Singaporeans develop coping mechanisms. Community activities, religious practices, and family rituals offer moments of emotional relief. Weekend visits to temples, mosques, or churches provide quiet reflection. Community centers host events that encourage structured engagement while offering a mental break. Even simple activities like walking in a park or reading at home are ways to reclaim personal time in a highly regimented society. Cultural values also influence how leisure is perceived. Productivity, discipline, and achievement are deeply ingrained. Free time is often guilt-laden unless used for study, exercise, or socially recognized activities. This affects mental well-being subtly. Relaxation itself can feel like an indulgence or waste of time. Social norms prioritize visible achievement over internal satisfaction, creating a tension between personal needs and societal expectations. In summary, weekends in Singapore are a microcosm of the city's broader reality: structured, demanding, and efficient, yet quietly taxing. They offer limited respite, but not full escape. Students continue studying, adults continue errands, and workers maintain essential services. Social and cultural pressures persist, influencing behavior, interaction, and even leisure. Mental fatigue accumulates, requiring small acts of self-care to navigate. The city's rhythm never truly stops. While the streets may appear quieter, the underlying systems continue. Maintenance, delivery, security, and healthcare all operate. Residents navigate this dual reality: a polished, organized city visible to the outside world, and a structured, demanding lifestyle experienced daily. Life is efficient, safe, and clean, but it comes at the cost of constant vigilance, effort, and mental strain. Singapore, in its true form, is a city of contrasts. Its exterior suggests leisure, prosperity, and calm. Its interior, The lived experience of most residents reveals structure, pressure, and continuous effort. Weekends highlight this duality. Opportunities for minor rest exist, but responsibilities, expectations, and societal pressures remain. Leisure is measured, social interaction is structured, and mental fatigue persists. Yet this is life in Singapore. It is predictable, safe, and orderly, but it demands endurance. Residents learn to navigate schedules, expectations, and cultural norms, finding moments of personal relief where possible. The city functions as a machine, and its people are both operators and participants. Weekend life is a testament to the balance of work, responsibility, and fleeting moments of rest, a cycle that repeats endlessly, quietly shaping the rhythm of existence in the city-state. Living in Singapore for many residents is a long-term exercise in endurance, structure, and careful balance. Over the years, the routines, pressures, and cultural expectations leave subtle but lasting marks. Mental fatigue, stress, and social comparisons accumulate, shaping both daily habits and long-term perspectives. The city's efficiency and safety are undeniable, but they come with trade-offs few openly acknowledge. For students, the years of structured learning and relentless expectation create a dual reality. On one hand, academic rigor and discipline build resilience, knowledge, and opportunities. On the other, the continuous pressure to excel fosters anxiety, competitiveness, and occasional burnout. Leisure is measured in small increments. A brief weekend outing, a short walk, or a moment of quiet at home, rarely enough to fully counterbalance the intensity of the school week. Friendships are often formed within schedules and academic circles rather than through spontaneous interaction, creating social bonds that are practical but sometimes shallow. Adults experience similar long-term effects. The culture of productivity and efficiency rewards those who adhere closely to expectations but leaves little room for self-reflection or unstructured creativity. Work-life balance is a constant negotiation, often skewed toward obligations over personal time. Many find themselves repeating patterns learned in school, prioritizing achievement, adhering to strict schedules, and measuring personal value by productivity. Mental strain is common, manifesting as tension, insomnia, or a subtle sense of being always on. The city itself both amplifies and mitigates these pressures. Singapore's infrastructure, cleanliness, and safety offer predictability that many other cities cannot provide. Streets are well lit, public transport is reliable, and essential services are consistently available. This order reduces certain stressors, fear of crime, sudden disruptions, or bureaucratic inefficiency, allowing residents to focus on the demands of daily life rather than survival. Yet this very predictability reinforces societal pressure, subtly emphasizing conformity, discipline, and measured success. Housing remains a reflection of both comfort and constraint. High-rise apartments, HDB flats, and condominiums provide clean, organized, and secure spaces. But personal space is limited, and family interactions are structured by necessity. Quiet moments are rare, and solitude is often found only in fleeting intervals. A walk in the park, a solitary meal, or a brief pause on a balcony. For many, these moments become critical opportunities for reflection, mental recovery, and a sense of individuality within a highly regulated environment. Social comparisons are an ongoing reality. Success is often quantified externally. Academic grades, career progression, financial status, or visible lifestyle markers. Social media reinforces these pressures, showing curated images of peers' achievements, luxury, or travel. Residents navigate this duality daily, balancing pride in accomplishments with the anxiety of keeping up. Leisure and personal fulfillment are filtered through these social benchmarks, shaping choices, priorities, and even self-perception. Despite these pressures, Singaporeans develop coping strategies that are subtle but effective. Structured leisure, gym sessions, community activities, or planned outings provides both physical and emotional relief. Mindfulness practices, yoga, and meditation are increasingly popular, offering mental clarity and a break from constant productivity. Family and community networks serve as informal support systems, sharing responsibilities, offering guidance, or providing emotional reassurance. Even small rituals, a quiet morning walk, a favorite tea, or listening to music at night, become vital anchors. Cultural values play a dual role. On one hand, discipline, respect for rules, and focus on achievement provide stability, order, and predictability. On the other, they create internalized pressure and a reluctance to admit weakness, stress, or dissatisfaction. Coping, therefore, often becomes a private endeavor, quietly negotiated within households or personal routines rather than openly discussed in public. Emotional resilience is cultivated alongside compliance and efficiency, forming an intricate balance between survival and fulfillment. Long-term effects also influence health. Structured routines often reduce risks associated with disorder or unpredictability, but can amplify stress-related conditions. Sleep deprivation, tension headaches, anxiety, and fatigue are common. Nutrition may be balanced in theory, but constrained by schedules, affordability, and convenience. Physical activity, though encouraged culturally, is often scheduled and regimented rather than spontaneous. Over decades, these factors shape both physical and mental well-being, creating patterns that require conscious effort to manage. At the same time, Singaporeans develop an acute awareness of time, efficiency, and opportunity. Life is measured carefully, decisions are intentional, and routines are optimized. For many, these habits are strengths. They enable achievement, provide stability, and create security. The challenge is balancing these advantages against the potential cost to spontaneity, personal fulfillment, and mental space. Even as the city continues its relentless pace, moments of quiet reflection exist. Early morning walks, evening strolls by the waterfront, and short weekends in nature provide relief. Residents develop a heightened sensitivity to small joys, a perfectly timed rain shower, the aroma of fresh food, a conversation that stretches beyond obligation. These moments are not abundant, but they are significant, a reminder that life is not merely about efficiency, but also about human presence, awareness, and connection. Singapore's reality, in its truest form, is therefore multifaceted. It is a city of extraordinary efficiency, security, and discipline. It is also a city of constant effort, quiet stress, and societal expectations that shape every choice. Its beauty lies not just in aesthetics, but in the seamless orchestration of daily life. And its cost lies in the endurance required of the people who make it function. For those who live here long-term, the lessons are clear. Patience, discipline, and resilience are essential, but so is self-awareness. Moments of personal reflection, small acts of kindness, and deliberate leisure are critical to maintaining balance. Understanding and navigating the contrast between societal expectation and personal fulfillment becomes a lifelong skill, as essential as any formal education or career achievement. In conclusion, life in Singapore is a delicate balance between order and pressure, opportunity and constraint. The city's polished image, technological sophistication, and social stability are undeniable, but they are sustained by tireless human effort, structured routines, and quiet endurance. Residents experience a blend of security, efficiency, and social expectation, which shapes not only daily life, but also long-term patterns of behavior, health, and mindset. Singapore is a city of contrasts. It is at once orderly and demanding, bright and taxing, secure and disciplined. Its people navigate these realities every day, finding strength in structure, endurance in routine, and fleeting joy in carefully carved moments of personal space. True life here is not always glamorous or picturesque, but it is authentic, measured in quiet perseverance, unspoken effort, and the constant negotiation between what the city requires and what the individual needs. For those who choose to observe closely, Singapore offers more than skyline photographs or curated experiences. It reveals a society built on discipline, achievement, and endurance, a city of real lives quietly striving, resting, and persisting beneath its polished exterior. And in that quiet persistence lies the essence of its people, who continue day after day, season after season, contributing to the city's rhythm while navigating the subtle pressures that shape their world.